Hi, and welcome back to Musicians Edition. Practice with me for alto saxophone. I'm your teacher, Risa, and today we're working in the Standard of Excellence Book 3, and we're on page 9 today, all right? So let's just jump right in here to exercise 33, Londonderry Air. This piece is for the whole entire band, but as you can see, the saxophones are going to divide into two. So if you are actually playing with the band, you should be assigned to either top or bottom part. We're going to go over both today, so no worries. All right, so we're actually going to look at the bottom part first. Okay, so whether you're on top or bottom, we have how many sharps in this piece? 2 sharps in our key signature, F and C. Okay, what is our time signature? Common time, but you will notice that our first measure is not a full measure, so we're going to come in on the and of 3. It's going to be a little funky, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. Okay, so it's kind of like a pickup, similar to. Okay, so when I count us in, I'm just going to count 1, 2, 3. We're going to come in on the and of 3. Okay, I'm not going to end up giving a full measure of counts. All right, so for now, let's just do that and let's just give it a try. We'll start off nice and slow. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, excellent job. So more of the challenge is separating between part 1 and part 2, right? So that can be a little challenging. Sometimes you just need to mark in, which parts are yours, circle them, or put a little arrow in, because it can be confusing seeing both parts like that. So if you got confused anywhere. Other than that, you just kind of need to watch your counts and make sure you're coming in when you're supposed to and not holding certain things out too long, okay? But overall, not too difficult. We'll have to add in some articulations though. So like, for example, our measure 1, da, 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 right? We have the slur there, and then the following measure, that A to A, is a tie, right? We have some ties going in with those 8th notes, so just pay attention to articulation. We do have some dynamic movements as well, starting mezzo forte and then crescendoing to forte, decrescendoing down to mezzo forte. So it's all fairly close here on line 1, between mezzo forte and forte, but at the end, we're gonna decrescendo all the way down to piano. And if you're playing with the band, there's also a ritardendo there, second to last measure, so more than likely your band's gonna slow down a bit. A little hard for us to do here on video, so we're gonna just ignore that. But make sure you watch your director when you're playing with everybody. All right, let's go ahead and do this again. Do the articulations and now add in your dynamics. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, excellent job. Let's speed it up a little bit. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Excellent job. This is andante, so it is a fast piece. All right, now let's take a look at part 1, okay? We don't have any accidentals or anything, and for a good hunk of this, our rhythms are the same, but then some are also not. The rhythms are, we have a little less 8th note action. But let's just go ahead and give this a try. All right, nice and slow. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, excellent job. So once again, you can see it's a little difficult sometimes deciphering between part 1 and part 2. There are some notes that are shared, so it can be confusing. Once again, kind of mark in what is what to help you figure out, what is what. Same thing, we also got to pay attention to our articulations, okay? We have a little bit less movement just because we have not those 8th notes like part 2 has. We're just a little more laxed. All right, and our dynamics are going to move the same way as part 2's. So let's go ahead and give this a try. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, excellent job. Just real quick, a spot that gets missed a good hunk of times is the last measure of the top line. Make sure you're just holding that half note out for 2 beats, okay? I know a lot of students have a tendency to rush that one just because they haven't had half notes anywhere else in the piece yet. And so that one has a tendency to get cut short. Make sure you don't cut it short. Let's do this one more time, a little bit faster. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, excellent job. I'm going to make us do it as if it were a duet though, because I feel it's very important for you to feel confident with your spot and what you're doing, and being even comfortable with what your neighbor may be doing, because you might be right on the line. You might be playing part 1 and the person next to you might be playing the bottom part. And if you're not really aware, it can have some people panicked, especially if you're listening to other people. So it's kind of a confidence thing. All right, so this time you play the bottom part, I'll play the top part. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. right, excellent job. Let's swap parts. This time you play the top part, I'll play the bottom part. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, excellent job. Let's go ahead and move on to exercise 34, technique break. Okay, look at our key signature. What happened? We added a sharp. Excellent. Take a look at our time signature. 6/8. Okay, so everything's going to feel a little different. Remember, we're counting in 6 with the 8th note getting the beat. Okay, this is andante, so it is slower. All right, let's go ahead and give this a try, nice and slow. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, excellent job. Did you get that G sharp? Circle it if you missed it. Also, just put that little sharp sign in there. All right, let's go ahead and do this again. This isn't much faster than that. In fact, I kind of like that pace. Remember, it's andante. Okay? And if you notice anything, it's almost like we're just pulling the 8th notes out from the beginning. So we da 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 da. Right? It just kind of changes it up a bit without really changing it up that much. All right, let's go ahead and play it again. Ready? Except this time I'm going to count us in 2s in. Okay, because more than likely your director's counting in 2 to bring you in, so I want you to get used to hearing just the 1, 2 instead of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can still count it that way in your head if that really helps. I'm just saying that your director's counting it in 2. So we're going to start kind of shifting over to hearing 2. All right, here we go. 1, 2. Excellent job. If you were struggling with any of those parts, say like the second to last measure, just remember to slow that down. And then start speeding it up. Okay, just might feel a little wonky with that G sharp. It's kind of a lot of work there, so just make sure you work that in. All right, let's go ahead and move on to 35. This song doesn't have a name. That's because you name it. The composer, also you. All right, compose a song that is shaped like the curve of the lines. Title and play your composition, okay? So the only thing they're asking you for is they want things kind of grouped into 4s as a slurred, okay? So why don't we go ahead, let's finish this piece. There are no sharps, no flats. Keep that in mind when you're writing this, okay? So just write whatever you think would be good. All right, if you're still writing your composition, just pause the video and come back to this when it is complete. All right, so I guess just because I don't know what you wrote, how about we'll play the first 2 measures together, you drop out, I'll finish, and then we'll have you finish. Okay, so this time just play the 2 measures with me and then I'll complete. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. How did you like my composition? Great. Okay, now I want you to play your part. So I'm going to play the first 2 measures with you, and then you play the rest of the song that you wrote. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Great. And just know if there was something you didn't like about your composition, that's the beauty of the pencil, right? So if you wrote something down musically that you didn't like, say you didn't like the rhythm, all you got to do is erase it and play around with the rhythm even. So even if you were thinking of a little more complex things like a 16th, 8th combo or something, just play around with it, like strawberry 1, 2, strawberry 3, 4. If you wanted something like that. And sometimes it might even help if you're clapping it out. If you didn't like something with the note, once again, it's easy enough to just erase your note and, you can play around with that too if you're unsure of the interval or how you wanted it to sound. So maybe you wanted to go to, you had written maybe say a C to an E. But maybe that's not the sound you were looking for. It's okay to also just work your way. So I wanted it higher. Okay, a G was what I had in my head. All you gotta do is erase it, put the G in there instead, right? Nothing's permanent when you're composing these songs, whether you are just doing it for this exercise or whether you're actually looking to compose, okay? Play around, experiment. Maybe you wanted even something real jazzy. Maybe then even start fooling around with sharps and flats. So maybe you're like, that G was too happy. Let's see what it sounds like if it's F sharp instead. Ooh, I kind of like that, and then we can resolve it into the G. You could even do things like that. So the biggest thing when you're working on any form of compositions, whether it's something simple like this or something more difficult, don't be afraid to experiment, play around. Even if you don't know that much theory, just have fun with it. See what you can do and see what you can come up with. I'm pretty sure you can come up with some pretty cool things. All right, that's all about you though. So take time, alter your composition as you see fit, and work it to where you like it. All right, let's go ahead and move on to exercise 36, pentatonic scales. Now we haven't really talked much about the pentatonic scales. We know our major and minor scales and the chromatic scale, but the pentatonic, what's that? Well, according to the book here, pentatonic scales consist of 5 notes instead of a whole octave, right? 2 forms of the pentatonic scales are shown above. We're going to play those, and real quick, pentatonic scales, a lot of people who play blues or jazz, they'll play pentatonic scales, and it's kind of the best scale to work on if you're doing those kind of improv. Okay, it's kind of like the safe notes, the things that fit no matter what the band is playing. All right, so let's go ahead and look at this. Let's look at A. All right, we have no sharps, no flats marked in A 3/4 time, okay? Though it does change a little bit up, so we'll just kind of, we'll keep the tempo the same. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Excellent job. And they just had to change the time signatures just to make everything fit within those 5 notes, so that's why it's like that. Okay, let's do it again just so we can get comfortable, a little more comfortable with the way it sounds. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Excellent job. All right, now let's look at letter B. Okay, so it's going to sound the same way, but this one is written with the F sharp. Okay, so we're starting on G. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Excellent job. Sounds way different than our regular scales. So this is one that you can, I mean, if you're excited to get ahead, what you could do is just see which ones are, go off of the intervals, right? So 1 to 2 is what? A whole step, right? And then we skip to a third interval, then to fourth, fifth, going on to, let's see, fifth, sixth, seventh, right? So you can kind of figure out from the intervals there. Let's go ahead and play B again though. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, excellent job. So don't be afraid to kind of mess around with those scales and see what you can figure out. Or you could even start like putting some blues on, as you know, if you kind of know where the key signature is, use the pentatonic scale to help guide you. Okay, moving on to our last exercise of the day, 37, go for excellence. Okay, andante, this is going to be faster. We don't have any flats or sharps in this key signature, still in 3/4. This is airying, which is based on the pentatonic scale. All right, so let's go ahead and give this a try. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Excellent job. I did not breathe well on that one. So I guess if you're like me and you didn't really pay attention to where you were breathing, watch your phrasing too. All right, so hopefully that wasn't too complicated. Just watch those triplets there. Triplet, triplet, da da. Okay. A lot of this is slurred, so watch those too, that articulation. This song is quieter, so we're starting mezzo piano and then getting real soft into the top line there, decrescendoing down to pianissimo. All right, and then we're starting right off the bat in mezzo forte, and then once again to the end, that's a lot of decrescendoing down to mezzo piano. Okay, so just watch some of that. Let's add some of those in. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Excellent job. A lot harder to do with the dynamics, isn't it? Yes, and it is andante, so you still do kind of have to watch your breathing and just make sure the phrasing makes sense. Because remember, the phrasing is like how we would speak, so we wouldn't want to breathe in the middle of a sentence like that, right? So make sure you're not breaking up the phrases. All right, and on that note, that concludes today's lesson, all right? So make sure you take time, work on anything you struggled with, slow it down, gradually speed it up. You know the gist. All right, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please let me know down in the comments. While you're down there, don't forget to hit like, notify, and subscribe so you don't miss any of our practices. Thanks for watching, and until next time.